Mariana's garden wasn't just a backyard. Hidden among the trees beneath a web of vines, pulsed a secret that beat like a wounded heart. Small cabins, built from recycled planks and reinforced doors, sheltered stories of women who'd fled hell. Each had a name, a fear, and a hope. But that evening something shifted, as Anna, a woman with a skittish gaze, rocked her baby in a hand-woven hammock. Her daughter Sophia drew on the ground. "What if Dad finds us?" the girl asked, breaking the silence. Mariana, kneeling nearby to adjust a security alarm on an oak tree, forced a smile. "This place is magic, you know. Witches can't cross the forest, but not all witches wear black cloaks." In the neighboring house, Karen watched through binoculars, her stance rigid as a hawk's. "Look at that," she snapped at her husband. "That woman's turned her yard into a dump. Those shacks are a disgrace." Her voice, sharp as a knife, sliced through the night air. Later, under a waning moon, Mariana and Javier, a community volunteer, hammered posts for a low fence. "It's not enough," Javier muttered, wiping sweat. "If the HOA finds out what this is for..." Mariana cut him off. "It's all we can do without revealing the truth." Her words dissolved into the wind, but Karen had already seen too much. The next morning, with a flashlight in hand and a fake smile, she approached her property line. "Good morning, dear," she called toward the garden. "Why don't we talk about those structures? They might collapse." Mariana, blocking the cabins from view, stifled a shiver. "They're just old junk," she replied, but her voice wavered. Her office, Karen typed furiously. Photos of the garden taken with a telephoto lens uploaded to an email addressed to the HOA. "Safety code violation," she wrote in the subject line. As she hit send, a tear rolled down Anna's cheek, hidden in her cabin. "What happens now?" she whispered. Mariana, hugging her, had no answer. The sanctuary was no longer invisible. The letter arrived like a bolt of lightning on a gray day. "Demolish in 7 days." Mariana held it by the window, watching the wind rip leaves from the trees, as if nature itself tried to stop the inevitable. "What are we going to do?" Anna whispered, clutching her baby as she watched from the cabin, but Mariana didn't answer. She couldn't. Not yet. Meanwhile, Karen spread her poison with smiles. "I just want to help," she told her husband, savagely pruning roses. "That woman is destroying our property values. Imagine if reporters find out we live next to a homeless shelter." That afternoon, Mariana called every contact. Secretly in the kitchen, door closed. "I need a new location for 3 people, she murmured. Into the phone, "Yes, urgently. But if I move them, he'll know where to look." Anna found out. She discovered the crumpled letter in the trash, still readable. Her hands shook as she read illegal structures. "You can't make us leave," she screamed, clinging to Mariana. "If we move, he'll find us. I'd rather die here." Then, the doorbell rang. Karen, in her impeccable dress and plastic smile, held a tray of cookies. "I brought a peace offering," she said, gesturing to the garden. "You could plant tulips. They'd look divine." Mariana clenched her fists. "This garden already has a purpose," she replied, holding back tears. "A purpose?" Karen laughed cold. "It's a nest of problems. Do you know what you're doing to this neighborhood?" At that moment, a lightning bolt lit the sky. Anna, from the window, gripped a kitchen knife. Her gaze, fixed on Karen, spoke louder than words. "You don't understand," Mariana murmured, closing the door. "This isn't about flowers or rules, it's about surviving." But Karen was already walking away, humming an old song. As the wind tore a hole in the vine-covered fence, Mariana knew time was running out. The room buzzed with whispers and sidelong glances. Karen, in her impeccable suit, projected photos of the garden, cabins among trees, vines, a broken swing. "It's a danger," she shouted, pointing with a laser. "This isn't a home, it's a hideout for undesirables." Mariana, seated in the back row, gripped Anna's hand under the table. The woman trembled, remembering sleepless nights, her husband's footsteps in the hall. the sound of the door slamming shut forever. Then, Luis stood. His paramedic uniform, stained with dried blood, silenced the room. "My sister slept in those cabins," he said, voice breaking. "She fled a man who beat her bones to dust, that garden." He swallowed. "Isn't a danger, it's a salvation." Karen let out a dry laugh. "Oh, please. A secret shelter. How dramatic." But Luis didn't. Back down. "You know why it's secret, Karen?" He stepped toward her, the laser pointer trembling in his hand. "Because if he finds her, he'll kill her. And you." He glared. "You're his accomplice." The room erupted. Some clapped. Others shouted, "Rules are rules." The HOA president banged the gavel, helpless. "Vote," he announced. "Demolish or delay." Hands rose, half against Mariana, half stayed down as if weighed by fear. Karen smiled, confident, until Luis pulled out his phone. "I've got contacts at the local journal," he said, showing the screen. "Want this published?" The president paled. "We'll postpone." "One more week." Karen cornered Mariana as people left. "You won't win," she hissed. "I'll call the police. Let's see if your guests have papers." Mariana looked at her, more weary than afraid. "You don't get it, do you? This isn't about rules, it's about who deserves to live." As Karen stormed off, muttering curses, Luis hugged Ana. "I won't let them touch you," he vowed. "Not again." Inspector Carlos arrived with the weight of the law in his briefcase and a hidden story beneath his scar. Karen greeted him as an ally, but something in his gaze, deep, too human, made her falter. "What is this?" he asked, pointing at the cabins. Mariana took a deep breath. "No more lies." "A refuge," she said, "for those with nowhere else to go." Ana stepped forward, baby in arms. Her sleeve fell, revealing bruises. Carlos clenched his fists. "My husband," she whispered. "Without this place." Carlos closed his eyes. His scar, a white line on his brow, seemed to pulse. "My mother fled a man like that," he murmured. "We slept on the streets for a week, until a stranger opened their door." Karen, listening from the fence, stiffened. "It's illegal," she screeched. "They belong in a real shelter." Carlos turned, cold as steel. "What if the abuser follows them there, ma'am? What if he finds them first?" That night, the local journal published the truth. A photo of Ana and Carlos, his scar visible, filled the front page. "The garden that saves lives," read the headline. And then, the light came. Neighbors with candles surrounded the garden. Javier with a torch shouted, "This is our refuge. It stays." Ana hugged Mariana, crying, not tears of fear, tears of hope. Karen, from her window, gritted her teeth. "For the key." First time she was alone, and in the darkness the garden burned like a beacon. Dawn came like a verdict, not with the bang of a gavel, but with the roar of truth. Cameras flash, hungry for justice, as the mayor unfurls a decree that will change the fate of the garden, and everyone in it. Mayor Roberto, a tired-eyed man in a rumpled suit, steps up to the podium. Behind him, Ana, other women, and neighbors form a human chain around the garden. Mayor Roberto, in a booming voice. "Today, this garden is not just dirt and wood. It is a symbol, a reminder that compassion always conquers fear." He signs the decree with an elegant gesture. "Heritage of citizen resistance, protected, honored." Applause breaks out. Karen drops her cup, breaking it. The sound is drowned out by chants of "justice," and the garden stays. Karen, to her husband, through clenched teeth. "I need to fix this before it's too late." Mariana, alone under an apple tree, picks wilted flowers. Karen approaches, dressed in black, holding a white envelope. The wind carries petals between them. Karen, voice shaking, "I wanted to say..." Mariana, without looking up. "What, Karen, that you're sorry? That you didn't know Ana slept with bruises? That the baby cried at night?" Karen, holding out the envelope. "I want to help. It's an anonymous donation." Mariana, Opens the envelope. $100 bills fall out like dead leaves. Mariana, cold. Anonymous. Your name is on every dollar. On every tear, Anna cried. Every night I slept in fear. She grabs the money. This doesn't erase what you did, but it will help. Protect them from people like you. Karen stumbles back, defeated. At home, she packs Louis Vuitton suitcases. Her husband carries boxes of trophies and photo ops. Karen's husband. Are you sure you want to go? Karen, staring at the garden. There's no place for me here anymore. That night, under the new solar lights, Mariana and Anna dine in the garden. The baby crawls among aromatic herbs. Anna, touching her scarred arm. I'll never forget this. You gave me a home. Mariana, interrupting. You gave it to yourself. I just opened the door. Voiceover. Mariana. Justice doesn't always come with fanfare. Sometimes it's a seed planted in the dark. And when you least expect it, it blooms.